Welcome, and thank you for joining this session of Innovation Institute 2021. With nearly 50 sessions available through the summer, we know you'll be discovering new skills, strategies, and resources to transform the teaching and learning in your classroom, and we would love to hear from you. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to visit the Town Hall in Attendify to connect with the attendees through the activity stream or community features. If you would like a certificate of attendance for attending this session, you will find the request form linked at the end of the session description in Attendify. Thank you, and enjoy this session from one of our amazing Innovation Institute presenters.
Hello, my name is Jay Dostal, and I'm here today to present to you technology tools for administrators for the 2021 Innovation Institute. I'm the principal of Fayetteville High School. A little bit about me. You can find me at j.dostal@g.fayar.net. You can also find me on Twitter at @jdostal. Part of this presentation is to help you learn some basic technology tools that may help you with various components of your job. And so the big concept that we are talking about today during the presentation is going to be work smarter and not harder. We have all of these tools at our disposal. We just need to know about them and be able to apply them to daily things in our job that we sometimes spend a little bit more time on than we should. And so hopefully throughout this presentation, you'll pick up some ideas that you can incorporate into your own job. Of course, I'll always be available to assist you if you have any questions. The structure of this is going to be such that you can pause the video at any time and practice these things on your own data. I will have sample data sets that I'll walk you through. I've also embedded some videos that you can go back and look at so that if you forget, you can go back and watch a short video and figure out how to do it. And then if you can't figure out how to do it, you can certainly reach out and visit with me. So some of the tools that I plan on talking to you about today include Doc Studio. Doc Studio is an extension that you can put in on Google Sheets. There's a free version and there's also a paid version. I do have the paid version, but the Doc Studio free version is really good. It just limits the number of emails and things that you can do on a daily basis. Mail merge with attachments. Again, this is an extension that you can add on to Google Sheets, and we'll walk through that real quick. But basically, it is the ability to send mass emails that can be scheduled. This is also an extension that has a free version and a paid version. The big difference is the free version lets you send 50 emails a day, whereas the paid version lets you send 1,500 emails a day. I do have the paid version, but I'll explain why when we get to that point. Google Sheets, we're going to spend a lot of time on Google Sheets just because there's a lot of functions that you can use, like concatenate, VLOOKUP, pivot tables, split cells, remove duplicates, a whole bunch of stuff that if you're playing around with Google Sheets, they're great tools that I have found that I utilize on a regular basis that help me do my job more efficiently. We'll go into Google Sites in a way to develop data dashboards. I won't go into a lot of detail because Google Sites is pretty self-explanatory, but with a combination of Google Sheets, you can turn Google Sites into a data dashboard so that people in your community can know a little bit more about your school rather than trying to search it maybe at the state site or something like that. So I will show you that. And then I've got a couple of admin resources that I think might help you out. These are a couple of sheets that I've created for our school that I think have really helped out. And this is all based off the feedback of people in our school, our master schedule builder, our counselors. They had the ideas. I just maybe had a little bit of the tech know-how. And so I worked out some of the tech magic that I'm going to show you here and just basically tried to help support them in the jobs that they do. And so we'll go over those, and you can certainly click on the links that in the presentation afterwards, make copies of your own and mess around with it and make it your own. So I want to offer that up as part of this presentation. So we're going to jump in first with Document Studio. Doc Studio is a Google Sheets add-on that helps you generate sophisticated documents automatically for merged data in Google Sheets, Excel files, or even Google Forms submissions. Additionally, it can be used to send mass emails with information found in a Google Sheet. Some potential uses that you can have on it are notice of evaluation, yearly documentation, and any forms that you require parent-student signatures digital through, like they fill out the form and it goes in a spreadsheet, and then you can merge them into a Google Doc that you created. And so we're going to jump out of the presentation here real quick, and we're going to go over to a mail merge, sorry, not a mail merge, Doc Studio demo. And so normally you would get a spreadsheet with a lot of different data on this. And so we're just going to type in some basic information like first name, last name, grade, and or class, sorry, I should say class level. And we'll also say a course grade, and we'll also go course. All right, so again, you can put any data that you want in there, and we'll call it Joe, John, class level is a senior, course grade is a 90%, and the course is American history. So let's say you have a whole spreadsheet full of data very similar to this, and you wanted to maybe develop a progress report. So let's say this is an assignment chart, and you wanted to not put it in an email, but you want to send it out to families in a really easily read format. And so you'll want to include an email address on this as well. So we're going to put an email address, and I'm just going to put test@email.com. So you've got your data. So once you have all of your data and you've got it organized and you've got all the information you want, you're going to go up to add-ons. And if you've never added on the Doc Studio, you actually click on Get Add-ons, and then you'll search for Document Studio, and it will load for you. And then once you have it in your list, you can click Open, and it's going to open up a bar on the right-hand side. And it's going to take you through a few different things. So it's going to say create merge documents when rows are in the Google Sheet. So you'll click this if you want to merge this information into an actual Google Doc. For the purposes of this demo, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to I'm going to keep it at no, but I want to do a mail merge with Gmail. And so I'm going to click yes on this. And once I click yes, it's going to add these little icons on here, and it's going to pop open an email template designer. And this is where you can send the email to. And this is why we put that email address in. I'm going to put email. And then if I also want to email specific people, I can type in specific email addresses of people that I want. I can also blind carbon if I want to. And then you put in your full name of how you want it to do, the email subject, and the reply to address. Same thing, you work with email. And then you can start entering in your message. So I'm just going to put test message. And then I want to draw the information that's in the spreadsheet into this email. And so this is where it's really going to be cool. So if I click on this insert merge field, it's going to give me all of this information that is already over there. So for example, if I wanted to do all answers, I could just click on that. But let's say that I wanted the first name, it's going to populate. And then I want to put the last name right next to it. So I'm going to click last name. All right. And then the next, I'm going to click enter, and I want to put their grade level in, or class level, and then I'm going to hit enter, and then I want their course grade to be listed there, and I also want their course to be in there, and then I hit save. All right, and so that's pretty much it. And so I have to put a subject there. I'm going to put test message. So now I've got this this message. Now you can do code with your HTML if you really like, but I don't do that. I use the visual editor. And then once I've got that done, I'm going to hit finish and merge. And so I can send emails now or merge every hour. The merge every hour is actually a useful feature if you have a Google form or you're collecting information and you want to send them a document back. That way, every time a form comes in, every hour this extension will run, and it will send the information out, and then you hit save. But you can also hit the preview button to see what it looks like, and it's going to show you real quick. It's going to take a second here to work, but no file created, but you can view the email, and this is what the email ends up showing There's the test message. It drew in John Doe. It drew in the grade level. It drew in the percentage, and it drew in the American history. So this is an easy way to, if I go back to, while I said notice of evaluations, I have a list of all my teachers, what level of tests they're on, and who their evaluator is. I can create a merge document and send that out on a yearly basis for them to sign, saying, hey, this is the information that we have on your evaluation status this year. So that's just one example of how you can use it. We're going to go back into the presentation. And the next thing we're going to look at is there is a Document Studio tutorial, so you can go ahead and click on that and watch it when you've got the presentation. The next thing we're going to, and I clicked on the wrong thing, so we're going to go into Mail Merge with Attachments. Mail Merge with Attachments is a way to send personalized email messages to your contacts with Mail Merge for Gmail. Each email that you send out is going to be unique, and unlike putting email addresses in the carbon copy or the BC so you don't see them, every recipient on your list will receive your intended message as if it were sent solely to them. So it's a personalized email address. And you can also do email tracking on this. And so potential uses that I use them for are birthday emails to students and staff. And I also send my at-risk emails to students. And so, I'm in a school with over 220 certified staff, probably another 100 classified staff. It's a lot of emails, and trying to keep up on birthdays is kind of tough. So I've actually created this so that every morning of a person's birthday, it will automatically send out on the back end a birthday message to those teachers, and I don't have to worry about it. And then, of course, I blind carbon myself on them so that when I get that, it reminds me, oh, there's a birthday. And when I see that person, I wish them happy birthday. I also send out at-risk emails to students. So students who are failing classes, every 2 weeks, I will send them an email utilizing this. And again, I'm in a school with 2,600 students. So that's why I did the paid version, because I can do 1,500 messages a day. So this just sends them a reminder with their course, the grade that they have in that class, and just a reminder to go and visit with their teacher to develop a plan to get back on task. And so we're going to jump into what that actually looks like. So here's Mail Merge with Attachment. Just imagine you have a whole bunch of information here. You really just need to start with a blank spreadsheet. You're going to go up to Add-ons. And again, you'll click Get Add-ons if you want to do this, and you'll look for Mail Merge with Attachments, which is right here. And then once you have it loaded, you're going to enable Mail Merge. And it's going to open up, it's going to say, yes, it's enabled for this. You're going to click Close. And you're going to wait here for a second. Click on Mail Merge, and we're going to create the Mail Merge sheet. So you have to do this. Click the Create Mail Merge Sheet. It's going to be working here for a little bit, but you're going to get this tab that opens up. And here are the required fields for Mail Merge. You have to have a first name, a last name. You have to have an email address. Okay, those are the basic foundations. You can always go back in and you can change things. You can add things. Like if you click on this column and click right-click on it, you can click Insert One Left, and you also want to insert a couple in there. And so let's say we want first name, last name. Let's say that you wanted to do grade level. And you also wanted to do course. I'm just throwing examples in there. Basically, anything that you list in here is stuff that you want to merge into an email. And so now we're going to go over to, we're going to type in just a bunch of test information. Test Doe, grade level is 11, course is American History, and email address is test@email.com. Okay, so now when we're ready, we have all of our information. We can copy and paste information in here, just make sure it's sorted correctly. And then when we click on add-ons and we go to Mail Merge, now we're going to configure the Mail Merge. And what's going to happen here is it's going to pop up this box on the left-hand side. This is where you're going to enter in the information. So it's already got my email address. You can type in your name if you want. Put in there, and so then you're going to go, you can CC, you can BC, and then you can reply to, and then we're going to hit continue, just go through the steps. We're going to put at-risk report as the campaign name. You do need to put that in there. This is where you can track whether or not students or staff open them, so you can click on track email opens if you want. We're going to hit continue. Then you're going to create an email template. So you can use the visual editor or you can use a Gmail draft. I sometimes use a Gmail draft because it looks like it came from me. But if you wanted to do the visual editor, you could click on edit, and it's going to pop up a box, and we're just going to call this test message. And down here in the box, this is where you can add a picture if you want it, like your letterhead, but we're just going to do test. And then I want to insert merge fields. So this is the merge fields are what you have across the top here. We're going to click on this. I want first name, and then I also want last name, and I want grade level, and I want course name. Okay, so this is all of that information that you have right there. And you can type in your message, hey, I noticed that you are at risk of failing this class. Please visit with your teacher to visit. And so it would be nice to have the teacher name in there, but you can do whatever you want with that. You hit save, and then it's going to go to, you click on continue, and then you're going to go to here. What would you like to do? You can send a test email. I always do this because I want to see what the email looks like. And so what it does, it will take the first line and it will send a test email to your email account that you have set up in the process of registering for this, so you can view it to make sure it looks like you want. It won't send it to the person. It's just a test email. After you've done that, then you can run the mail merge. And what it's going to do is it will run through the entire list. And then over here, it's going to do tell you whether or not the email was sent. There are sometimes, and I'm not going to do that because this is a dummy email address. Sometimes I want to do things ahead of time, and so I'll create the data. But like birthdays, I don't want to send it until their birthday. There's nothing worse than getting a birthday message 3 months before your birthday takes place. So on the schedule date, you can actually go in here and you can type in, like, let's say the birthday message was August 1st. Of now schedule date, you don't want the year they were born, you want to put the year that you want it to send. So let's say it's August 1st of 2021. That means, and I want to send it at 8 a.m. I'm going to put 800. It looks like that. So now this message, once I click go after I've done all this, will be sent to Test Doe on August 1st, 2021 at 8 a.m. So that's a little bit how you run mail merge with attachments. Again, there's a wide variety of uses, but this is a way to send a little bit more personalized message to people in a list. And so let's go back to the merge with attachments. And so again, I just provided an example there, but you're also going to see that there's a video here that I added so that you can also go in and get a little bit more tutorial on how that looks. The next thing is Google Sheets functions at work. So I'm going to show you just a few very quickly. Concatenate, VLOOKUP, split cells, remove duplicates, and pivot tables. Concatenate joins cells into one. VLOOKUP does comparison between two lists. Split cells takes a cell and splits it into multiple cells. Removing duplicates if things appear multiple times, and then pivot tables. So I'm going to go over these very, very quickly, but again, all of these things have allowed me to do my job a lot more efficiently. And so I'm just going to quickly get out of this, and I'm going to go to a demo sheet here. And so the first thing that, let me move this out of the way, maybe. So I got to move this icon out. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right. So first one is going to be concatenate. Concatenate joins cells together. So a common list is you have a last name and first name, and you want to join these two together. And so what you do is you click in a cell right next to it, you type in equals, you type in concatenate, you type in just the first few letters. You don't want concat, you want concatenate. And so you're going to click on that, and then you have to join the cells. And so I want last name, comma, first name. And so you have to think of this almost in a character sense. So I want the last name to appear first. So I'm going to go to just this first cell, and I'm going to click A2. Notice it populated A2. All right. Every time you enter in something, you have to put a comma to separate so you can put the next feature in. So I'm going to press comma. Notice it highlighted that one. So I've got the last name locked in. I want the first name, but I need it separated by a comma and a space. So you actually have to think of this in very logical terms. And the way to do that in concatenate is you put quotation marks around what you want. And so I'm going to put a quotation mark, I'm going to press a comma and a space, and then I'm going to put a question mark. So that means that it's going to enter a comma and a space in between the names. And then I want to enter in the first name. So I have to press comma because I need another cell. And then I'm going to click on Samuel, which is B2. So notice I have A2, and then I've separated it by a comma and a space, and then I put B2 in there. And then when I do that, I hit enter. Notice it's going to say exactly what I wanted. What I love about Google Sheets is it will recognize the formula and it will decide to do everything for you. So you can go ahead and click on the suggested autofill by clicking on the square or the little check mark. But I'm going to close out of this just to show you another feature I think is pretty important. And so notice that I've got Samuel Smith listed there. You can also notice, and there's the formula that we just entered. If you didn't do the autofill, you have this little square button right here in the bottom of the cell. If you click on that and drag it down through all the cells, it will do the exact same thing. So notice that it took everything and concatenate and put them together. So that's the function of concatenate. The next thing we'll look over is remove duplicates. And so you can see here, I have another test data set. So I have a test student 1. I have their grade, and then I have their courses. Now, you'll notice that the first 2 columns are the same, but this third column shows course 1 and course 2. Well, if I'm looking at this data, I can easily tell that there are, I just need the student listed twice because there's only listed course 1 and course 2. But imagine if you had a whole spreadsheet of data, you need to figure out if there are duplicates in there. So that's actually a really easy fix. So what you can do is you can just highlight those cells, are all the cells that are in the information. I typically go and click up in this left-hand corner, so I select all the cells. And then once you have that, I'm going to go up to Data, and I'm going to click on Remove Duplicates. And what you're going to see is this box pop up, and my data has header row. So I'm going to click on that, and then it's automatically going to select everything. I unselect it. I want to find duplicates. But if I just click on column A, it's going to remove everything because it all said test student 1. If I click on just those 2 and all of their grades are 90%, it's just going to give me 1 return back because it's only looking for duplicates in those 2 columns. And so then this is where I have to click on the course name. And so when I do that, it's going to look at all 3 columns that I have, and it's going to remove the duplicates for it. So once I've selected all those and click remove duplicates, it's going to tell me what happened. And when I go back up here, notice that I've got test student 1, I've got their 90% grade, and course 1, course 2. And so it's a great way to take a huge data set and remove duplicates if you feel like there's a lot of information that is duplicating itself. The next item on here is split cells. And so sometimes you'll have a list that looks like this with student last name, their first name, and an initial. Sometimes you want to separate that out into last name, first name, and middle initial in their each individual cells. And so there's a quick fix for doing that. You just highlight on the cell, and when you go to data, you can go down to split text to columns, and it will automatically do it. You'll see this little document down there or little pop-up that says separator, and you can detect automatically. Well, it detected automatically the space between those 2, but you can also click on add something like a space, and look what happens. It then separated that out as well. So that's just a real quick way of transitioning one cell into multiple cells. The next option is the VLOOKUP. I use this on a daily basis, almost, it's like clockwork for me. A lot of times I have 2 different lists. I have an information over here and I have information over here, and I need to merge them together because I need to find out if that information is there. I spent a lot of time doing that this year, where I have a list of students and their grades, but their learning option, their learning environment that they chose during the pandemic is on a different list, and I need to merge them together. Well, this is where VLOOKUP comes in. So if you look right here, I've got a list of names. I don't have their student ID, but in another list, I have a list of names and their student ID. And so I want to look up this information and find out what their student ID is from this list. And so I copied and pasted this information over here in these cells, and now I want to do a VLOOKUP. So I need to find out what these students' ID numbers are. And so I'm going to click on that cell, and I'm going to click on equals, and I'm going to do VLOOKUP. When I click on VLOOKUP, I want to search this student's name. So it says A2. I'm going to press comma, And then I'm going to select the areas of information that I need to pull from. So notice the names are first. If the IDs over here were first, I would need to adjust them. I want to find this information in this list. So I need to have the comparable information first. So I want to look up Samuel Smith in this list. So I'm just going to highlight these two columns, and notice it's looking for Samuel Smith in columns G through H on this. So that's why it says G through H. So I'm going to press comma, and then I want to enter the information that appears second in this. So this is 1, 2, let's say I had a third column, a fourth column, fifth column. Whatever number I enter next in this formula, it's going to pull that information in there. So this is 1, this is 2. So I'm going to put 2, and then I'm going to press comma. And then I need to know whether or not I want an exact match or a partial match. I always go for exact match, and so that's why I type in false. And then I hit enter. And notice that Samuel Smith is not showing up, but it does the suggested autofill. So I'm going to just select that. Regina Jones shows up with ID. Well, when I look at that, Regina Jones ID comes up. Hector Rodriguez shows up with that ID. When I go through here, there's Hector. Yep, there's the ID that I need. Joel Jacobs, there's his ID. Well, there's his ID. Samuel Smith has an NA. There's no error. Well, that's because Samuel Smith, it's listed as Sam Smith. That's why. So I can easily fix that just by going up here and changing the name to Sam Smith, and look what happens. ID 888 pulls over. So that's how you do a VLOOKUp. Next thing is pivot tables. Okay, so this is a little bit more advanced, but I'm just going to try to give you a quick overview of it. So I've just repeated the same list 3 times. So you're going to see student 1 through 9, and then student 1 through 9, and then student 1 through 9. And then this is their name. Their name appears multiple times, and then what their learning environment is. A pivot table is a way to take a lot of data and give you some graphics on trying to disaggregate that data. And so I'm just going to, you've got this list. I'm going to click on all the cells by clicking up in this left-hand corner, and I'm going to go up to data, and I'm going to go pivot table. And when I click on pivot table, I'm going to get a pop-up that says, you want a new sheet or an existing sheet? I'm going to go with the new sheet, and it's going to create another chart over here. So if I go back to the learning option, let's say I want to find out exactly how many students are on this list, because in some cases you might have a list with 30,000 cells on it. When I go back to the pivot table, on rows, I want to see the student name, okay? Well, notice it just took all of this, and again, I repeated the same thing over and over again. I only have 9 students. Well, when I did just by doing the rows, it's going to show me how many times that it's not going to count the duplicates. It's just going to show me the exact number of students that are there. And then for the values, I just want to show values is going to add them up. If I wanted to value the student name, notice it's going to appear 4 times, because if I go over here to learning options, student 1 appears there, student 1 appears there, that's 2, student 1 appears there, that's 3, and student 1 appears there, that's 4. So student 1 is listed 4 times, and that's why it calculated as values. All right, let's say I don't want the values in there. I just want to see what their learning option is. Again, so I have rows, which is going to give me the student name, but for the columns, let's say that I want to show the learning environment or learning options. So I'm going to click that. It's going to list the learning environments that we have across the top, and then for values, I want to put the learning options on there. And again, student 1 shows up on Home Campus Virtual 4 times. So it's basically calculating all of those things. There's also the graphical interface of this as well. And so I'm going to switch back and go, for rows, I want the learning options. So here are my learning options that I have available. And I want to count values, the number of learning options that appear on this sheet. So I'm going to click on value of the learning options. Well, it shows that Home Campus Virtual is listed 16 times, Hybrid is listed 8, and 4x1 is listed 12. So if you go back here, Home Campus Virtual should be listed 16 times. It's counting all of those up. And so now I've got these totals, but I want to create a graph. I want to be able to show my superintendent the information that I've collected. So I'm actually going to highlight just those portions right there, because that's the totals of the learning options we have available. I'm going to go up here to the top in this little graph, insert chart. and it's automatically going to enter in a chart for me. And so this tells me, I can just print this and say that 33% of my students are on a 4x1, 22% are on a 2x3, and 44% are on home campus virtual. So that's a real quick and dirty way of doing a pivot table. There's obviously a lot more that you can do on it, but that gives you a general idea, and you can certainly play around with it and see how it might work for you. All right, so moving on. I've provided different tutorials for you. So here's a concatenate tutorial for you if you want to go back and take a look at that. Provided a split cell tutorial so you can go back and take a look at that if you're interested. I provided a VLOOKUP tutorial if you wanted to go back and take a look at that as well. And then we're going to go into data dashboards. I'm not going to do a lot of explanation on this other than to provide you an example. But once you've figured out how to use Google Sheets a little bit more, you can utilize that those function skills to develop a highly visual data dashboard that highlights your school's data. And so if you're like me, going to the state data dashboard and trying to find information is pretty cumbersome. And I want to put our data out in front of our parents so that we're very transparent in what we do. And so I update this on a weekly basis, but I've actually created a dashboard for our school with an introduction from me, an annual report of information, but then across the top, you're going to see a lot of information about our school. So on like ACT Aspire, you can click on this. Because I put all that information in a Google Sheet, I can do stacked responses, and you can actually see our data in a very user-friendly and digestible way. You can also look at our ACT college entrance scores, and I track this over time. So notice every year I go in and I add in our information, and it updates the spreadsheet. And so you can go in and you can take a look at this, and maybe it will spark some examples that you might be able to use in creating your own data dashboard. All right, and then we go into some administrator resources. So this is, I provided video tutorials after this, but these are two tools that I created based off feedback from the people that I work with, and they needed something that could work for them. And so I went back and used my tech wizardry to make sure that I could make sure that I supported them in their work. And so the first one is a staffing worksheet. And so the staffing worksheet, if you're like me, you're going to have to make a copy of this when you get it. If you're like me, trying to work through staff at the high school level and document the need for staff based off of course requests is somewhat of a cumbersome process. And so hopefully this will be able to help you in that process by working through figuring out if you're overstaffed, if you're understaffed, and where you need staff. And so this basically takes the total number of teachers that you have, the sections, there's a function, anything highlighted in yellow is what you fill out. Anything not highlighted in yellow, just leave alone because it's a formula. But total number of teachers available, the sections that they have, courses that they don't teach that specific course, and there's notes here. And then it will calculate the total number of sections available, and then you enter in your course requests. And I've gone in specifically and added 30 cells in each one of these so that you have plenty of room. You can change the class size if you want, but once you start putting this information in, you put your course request, it's going to calculate all of that information over here, and then ultimately it's going to tell you if you're overstaffed, you'll have a positive number. If you're understaffed, you're going to have a negative number. So go ahead and take a look at that. And like I said, I have a video tutorial that walks you through it, but just make a copy of this and hopefully it will work for you. And again, if you have questions about it, you can certainly reach out and visit with me, and I'd be happy to walk you through it. The next thing is a student credit audit. Counselors came to me and asked me to see if I could put something together that would help them make students, the process of going through and finding student credits easier and making them go through the process. And so I've got this really cool template that I think could really work for you. And so, you go through this and like test counselor, you can choose your own counselor name on this, and completion date, double click on it. We're going to go through here. So a lot of it is easily filled, but then enrolled, failing, or earned credit. So if I'm a senior and I'm doing a credit audit myself, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to select the course that I earned credit, and I took 9th grade English. And what it automatically does is it goes across and it's going to tell me the potential credits that I could earn, what I did earn, and because English 9 is an NCAA point, it's going to calculate my points. And so if I go through this and I earn credit in, say, Honors English 10 or Pre-AP Honors English 10 my sophomore year, it's going to go across there. And then in my junior year, I took AP Language and Composition, and my senior year, I'm currently enrolled in AP Lit. So you'll notice that because I'm currently enrolled, I have potential credits here. What I like about this is you can go through all of this and it's going to calculate at the bottom what you are. This is what you have so far. And so this is just a great way for students to be able to track their progress. And what I also like about this is counselors can then come back and utilize this by using the counselor worksheet at the bottom. And notice that they've got all this information right here, and it tells the credit. It's just a real quick snapshot of it. And then down at the bottom, it tells you your progress towards graduation. You can print this off. You can type in notes. It's just a really easy tool to digitize the typical paper and pencil process of calculating credits. And so, yeah, that's what I've got. And there's a staffing worksheet overview for you to take a look at if you're interested in watching that. And there's also the student credit audit portion that you can take a look at as well. And that's what I got. I know I'm probably over time on my presentation, but hopefully these tools that I showed you will help you out in your process. I'm always available for any questions you might have. Again, you can find me at j.dostal@g.far.net, or you can reach out to me on Twitter. I'd be happy to help you. But this has been Tech Tools for Administrator at the 2021 Innovation Institute. I'm Jay Dostal, Principal of Fayetteville High School, and you now have some tools in your toolbox on technology that can help you work smarter and not harder. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you for joining this session. To request a certificate of attendance, you can access the link at the bottom of the session description, scan the QR code here, or go to bit.ly/I2 certificate. Bit.ly shorteners are case sensitive, so please be sure to use all uppercase letters. Hear what insight other I2 attendees and presenters might have on this session and other breakout sessions by connecting with the Innovation Institute community on Facebook or Twitter at I2 Dostal or in Attendify's interactive features. And don't forget to mark your calendar for June 8th and 9th to join us for I2 2022. Thank you.